Good evening, THL. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Week 6 of Hearthcenter in the current season. Chat is moving so fast. Is it moving so fast? There's only one of you talking here that I can see, C-Mac. But thanks for joining us. I'm Donde, and I'm hosting with you, as always, alongside LotusKnight. Lotus, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Donde?
Can't really complain. Happy to be here. Happy to see another exciting week of pro action, which we'll talk about shortly here. We are joined as well by TwoStarMako, a frequent contributor to the show. What's up? How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. I'm fixing some issues with my League of Legends league as I'm doing this right now because people are idiots.
So you can say the word league for that, right? I mean, not only is it in the name of the game, but also that is
my bad. Series of Legends.
Series of Legends. In your Series of Legends series. Got it.
Yes.
All right. Well,
I actually wanted for a while to have a team with that spelled out league as the acronym, but haven't done that yet.
I mean, reach for the stars, man. There's still plenty of time.
Yeah.
THL ain't going nowhere, as you might have understood from the captain's applications going out. Mako just sent those out today, so we'll be back again for another round. Mako, do you have anything you want to say about that before we jump into our agenda tonight?
Yeah, if you're thinking about captaining, then you should definitely apply, even if you're on the fence, because we just kind of want to know what the interest is out there.
I agree. It's always nice to see new people interested in captaining, and that goes for any series, Legacy, Hero, or Pro. But we're going to talk about Pro tonight. That's what we're here for. We'll talk about Legacy and Hero a little bit later, at least player-related stuff. As you can see at the bottom of the screen there, we're going to go ahead and talk about last week's meta in Pro Series, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about what actually happened in Pro Series, talk about the player power rankings from Legacy and Hero, and we'll wrap everything up with a preview of Week 6. So why don't we get started, as we do, with the meta recap. So I'll pull that up here on the screen in just a second for you. And Lotus, I'll let you take this away, because I know you've been thinking real hard about what you want to say and how the Pro meta kind of made what it made you think about last week. So while I get it up on the screen, I'll let you go.
Sure. So Pro Meta has some interesting things going on. Last week, as we all know, was the first real week post nerfs. And I say real week, yeah, we had 2 weeks, but the week where the nerf happens, you're submitting your decks 2 days after the nerfs. You don't really know what's going on yet. And whoa, quite a lot happened. I think the one thing we can all see just from ladder has been the rise of Warlock, which kind of came coupled with an increase in Druid, because Druid has a pretty good Warlock matchup and a really insane Warrior matchup if you're going to bring Dragon Druid. So there's been kind of a change in dynamic because of that. And other classes, Demon Hunter and Hunter, still continue strong. Warrior is the best class right now, I think, and I don't think that's an exaggeration just from what stats tell us. And in terms of lineups, you can see that happening. First lineup in terms of most broad was Demon Hunter, Druid, Hunter, and Warrior. The interesting part is the Warlock started to come in some lineups, but the quote-unquote classic lineup, which was the one I saw the most in Legacy and in other series, didn't do as well. The Demon Hunter, Warlock, Warrior just wasn't shining as much. Interesting to see what will happen.
Yeah, it's as you mentioned, very highly brought lineup, second most, just one bring behind the top lineup, and did not do well at all. And it's just based on the four classes that you have there and how well they had been doing. It's a little shocking, But I mean, and I would say, oh well, Warlock. Maybe everyone kind of caught up to it this week. But if you look down at the bottom of this list here, you've got Warlock included in the bottom 2 lineups, and both of them did pretty well. I know it's a smaller sample size, but that's 5. If you combine those 2 lineups, that's 5-1, which is more wins than in 13 matches the second best lineup or second most brought lineup had.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do from a position of a targeting strategy. Because if you're bringing Druid, Priest, Warlock, Warrior, you're kind of targeting Highlander decks really well. I brought that lineup, and it worked out really solid. It was an interesting choice to target some decks that were super broad before, specifically the Highlander Hunter, the Highlander Mage, and even just regular Enrage Warrior. It's not as good into Bomb just because Warlock does not want to face Bomb.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, we look at the win rate here of Warlock, and that pretty much mirrored what we saw when the graphic that we posted last week that had Lorinda's stats from GM. That Warlock kind of took off, and then this past week he posted a synopsis of what happened, and Warlock kind of cratered once everybody figured out what they needed to do. And THL never had the booming week of Warlock because that happened after the GM submitted their lineups, and now Warlock did not do so well.
Right. I think Warlock is a very skill-intensive deck. So I think that adds a lot. If you're not used to the deck, if you're not confident on piloting it, it's kind of a mistake to bring it. Versus some other decks, you can still get by. You can get by with Face Hunter. And Face Hunter is not a trivial deck by any means, but you can get by a Face Hunter without a lot of practice. Not true for Warlock.
I think in general, like, the rule is the fewer turns that you'll have to make decisions on, the fewer mistakes you can physically make. A Face Hunter deck, obviously, you'd love for the game to be over by turn 6, 7, or 8, which means you only have so many decision points to make in the game. With Warlock, that game is going most likely at least 12, 14, 15, 16 turns deep before you really assemble all your pieces a lot of the time. I mean, sometimes you end up beating them down, but it's pretty rare in my experience. Mako, I know you've been kind of hanging out over there. I know you have not been playing Pro this season. You've been playing Legacy too, so you're pretty in tune with Legacy lineups and whatnot, Conquest style lineup. What are your thoughts here on everything that's happened last week of Pro meta-wise?
I feel like for the first time in a month and a half, when I see an opposing Demon Hunter, I don't think about banning it. I feel like the meta is at a point, at least for me when I'm playing, where when I see a Demon Hunter, I'm like, this is gonna be a fair match. So I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that Demon Hunter, like the top 4 lineups, include it, and it might just be coming off of the the hot streak we had of every single lineup, including Demon Hunter. But I think as time goes on with these most recent nerfs, we're gonna see a huge drop in play from the Demon Hunter brings, and I think we're gonna see some more refined lineups that don't include it.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have the air of a deck that needs to be brought. Or I say a deck because pretty much everyone who's bringing Demon Hunter is bringing Tempo Demon Hunter. I'm sure there's like the crazies out there who really want to bring Highlander or are still kicking around no TK list somewhere, but it's definitely Tempo of some flavor most of the time.
Right, you forgot one.
Yeah, which one did I forget?
You forgot Big Demon Hunter,
Big Demon Hunter, sorry. Yes, I try to forget all the games I play against that because someone always gets that Coilfang Warlord out on me and I just get locked out forever. But yeah, it's definitely a beatable class. It's a beatable deck. It just it really requires you to draw a lot of your early answers, and if you don't, you kind of lose a lot of the time. And even sometimes you draw your answers and you lose anyway because that's how aggro works. But Mad at Arms did make a good point. Face and Demon Hunters, they do have Face Hunter and Demon Hunter. Those are 2 different classes, not both hunters. Have more decisions in 3 turns than control decks, which is true because those early turns there's a lot of maneuvering. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And to me, what I would consider a fairly not decision-heavy deck is actually Dragon Druid. Because it's all about, can you get the ramp? And once you get the ramp, there aren't too many complicated decisions. It's one on another spell with the merchant. I forgot her name. 7 mana 5/8 that keeps summoning beasts.
Exotic Mount Seller.
Yes, Mount Seller. Thank you. I think that's a class where, or specifically a deck where there are way fewer decisions than anything else. I would not put Hunter or Demon Hunter as decks that you don't have many decisions in any way. But what I would add here is I think the fall of Demon Hunter is going to be a lot related to if we're going to see fewer Highlander Hunter numbers or not, because that's just the best way to beat Highlander Hunter. By far, it's just put a Demon Hunter in there. The deck just does not function well against Demon Hunter. It's not as unbeatable as it used to be, but it's still a really bad matchup.
Definitely agree with that. Mako, any last thoughts here before we move on to our recap from week 5?
No.
Oh,
right.
one small thing to add is
Sure.
just the warrior bans that we
Oh
didn't
yeah.
really talk about too much.
Oh, yeah,
but
absolutely.
warrior was banned more than 50% of the game in pro.
Oh, yes.
So definitely something to keep an eye of. Warrior is in a very dangerous spot. It feels like it's the strongest card, or the strongest class. It has some of the best cards like Corsair Cash, and getting that Ankar on 3 because you buffed it makes it a free win pretty much a lot of times. So
yeah, you'll notice it showed up in all 6 lineups on our list here as well.
Yeah.
The only
I think Warrior. I mean, in the past few weeks, Warrior and Demon Hunter were like the auto brings, but I think Warrior is just still in that spot as an auto bring because it does have that flexibility to pretty much get at least to an even matchup, which I mean is probably more than likely going to be more than even based on just the way the decks have been going for Warrior. But it does have that flexibility to where you can look at your opponent's lineup and be like, I can just make a tweak to like 8 or 9 cards. And then, because every Warrior deck right now has the same like 15, 20 card shell.
Yeah, it's
I
even
hate
the Bomb Warrior is essentially like you cut out Corcorons, you cut out some of the charge stuff, add in Boom, add in the Wrench Calibers, obviously Livewire Lances get taken out. I mean,
can we add a hashtag not my warrior thing on
I've been playing Bomb Warrior for weeks now. Like I was trying to stand that deck like before anybody thought it was a good deck, and maybe it's still not. I don't know, but I think it's nice to see a little bit of variety, even if it's not like a complete overhaul of the class. Oh yeah, I played based on ladder with it. Yeah, that happened last night. Yes, I am Bomb Warrior.
Deck, I think.
Yeah, base. Don't tell anybody else because we're definitely trying to, keep our submission secret here before they pop up on the website. So I'm gonna need to mod that comment in chat right now. All right. So let's talk about. I played JR, Yellow Dart, and Donde. Wow, we were all at the same rank then, I guess, or the same, multiplier. So let's talk about week 6 or week 5. Week 6 is this week. Week 5 is last week. We're gonna start at the top of the standings, and Mako, you take it away.
Right. This is the winter season, right?
Yes, the winter season. Did anyone else oing you today?
No one else oinged me about it. Although I saw that when you yeah. So in the announcements I said we were in week 6 of our winter season because I don't know what month it is.
It's all a blur.
It literally is all a blur. Anyways, Washumishas. So this is crazy because I haven't talked pro on air since preseason. And I remember when we did preseason stuff, they were in the discussion for being a top team, and it came off the back of just kind of background info from other players saying like they're always doing well in TESPA and they're all individual strong players. And then looking at this, you have 3 players who are currently undefeated on your team right now, and like this is absolutely insane. This is like this is like some some like Ragnaros HSA type shit right here, right?
100 points too. 100 points in 5
100
weeks.
points. That's absolutely bonkers. Like I don't know what our point record is for
It's not 200.
Pro, but I mean they've got to be close already, right?
I think it's in like the 160s, maybe.
There is absolutely no way they don't pass that.
No. Well, I mean, in fairness, like
fair,
oh, sorry, I'll let you go, Lotus.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and last season was the only one that's also had 11 weeks. So the only season you can directly compare it to is last season, as far as how
That's okay. That's
how
true.
many points could be scored on a season.
Here, yeah, I guess. We'll have
just as a
to
point
back
for-
that up. I wonder like how close they are to like the overall points record.
I don't actually think it's that far because if you look at the other series, the number one team in Hero has 97 points. The number one team in Gold or in Red has 94. In Gold has 85. So, and Gold is the only one that there's a very tight race at the moment for first. I don't know. Wild is different, but the number of points is not as far as it seems. Actually,
It's just it may not, but like you look at it, and three of their players haven't dropped a match this season.
it's
So
insane.
it's like it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's not
I mean,
normal.
no, definitely not. But yeah, this matchup versus the Beer Boys, I mean, the Beer Boys did well getting those 2 wins from their losses here or there, and the one got swept. But man, I don't even know. I don't know if we've played Washu yet in Aeon. I don't remember.
We have not.
Okay, well, have to whip you boys into shape or some shit.
Wow. Thanks for taking credit for that preemptively. If we do happen to somehow pull off a win against them.
Hey, I mean, someone's got to do it. Catch me, GG, and if we win.
I should also point out, just in case it's not readily apparent, if you look at the standings, the blue line in the middle is the change from last week. So, obviously, Washu was number 1 last week. They are number 1 this week, hence the little hyphen. And then the Beard Boys also were 11th last week and are still 11th. So, that's just a little brief explanation. But, Lotus, wait. I can't kick it to you yet. I gotta do something first.
No, not yet.
Oh yeah.
So okay, so we're gonna move on to game number 2. And I'm gonna bring it up first. So y'all may remember something from last week. This is so Bad to the Bone. Really took it to Stay the Blazes. Unfortunately for some people, mostly Stay the Blazes.
Man. Yeah. Yeah, they stayed the Blazes home.
They did in fact stay home last week. Unfortunately, Lotus with a big sweep, Eggo Waffle with a sweep as well, and only 3 players there did take 2 points. I will say I did call the Avi and Tweed going to 5, so that was about all I got right last week. So as I was saying, you may remember from last week there was a little prediction that went on. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll the tape.
I think I'm going to go ahead and make this... I'm just going to go ahead and make this my upset of the week the entire way. I'm going to say Stay the Blazes home gets the win. I'm going to go with... we'll go with Phoenix, Yoxer, and I'm going to go with Wengor over A2.
It's not rolling, bud.
So that's my call. 3-2...
Yeah, why is it not rolling? I have it on my screen rolling. All right, we're going to fix this.
It's not rolling.
Stay the Blazes home. Avi and Tweed should be a 5-game series. I think most of these will be 5 games, to be honest with you. I don't think there's going to be any real stomps here. So that's my call.
Talked about this match.
Shout out to Stay the Blazes home. You better win now, because if I have to come back next week and talk about how you guys lost 5-0, I'm going to be very upset.
So here we are. Back the next week, talking about how you guys lost 5-0 after I asked you not to do that. So now I have to completely eat crow. Yes, Icicles from last week. Thank you for reappearing on stream. But so that was I guess I was the only one who went out on a limb and said Stay the Blaze was going to win, and now here I am having to be sad that I was very, very incorrect. But as we all know, Lotus is a member of Bad to the Bone, and you won. You did well, so I'll let you go ahead and gloat now about how wrong I was and how well you played.
I mean, that's why I was hired for the show. You needed someone to make sure it was clear that other players are better at predicting matches. Not me. I'm
Oh yes, you are
awful at predicting
our
matches.
direct jammies replacement for this show.
I mean, that's why I was hired. So I'm very happy with Bad to the Bone. I think we did amazing. Avi sweep, the whole sweep. Avi beating Tweeg, A2, continuing. Both Avi and A2 are kind of in a rip in pro, which I hope continues today. You guys will see the match later. I beat Corrodin 3-0. Ego Waffle just crushing it against Yockster, and Farron beating Phoenix 3-2. So yeah, I'm very happy with my team, or well, Avi's team that I'm in, and I want to see how
did you just
far
co-op
we
the
can
team?
take this.
It's your team now.
It's my team as a caster. I'm the one boosting it. Avi was here. He boosted it when he was 2 weeks ago.
Yes,
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I'm very happy for us, though.
Well, I will point out that not to jump too far ahead, but I have a direct chance to get my revenge on Stay the Blazes for what they did to me, which is the most important thing that you should all remember. Is just how much they cut me. They cut me deep. So that will be coming up a little bit later.
As Illidan taught us, vengeance.
Exactly. Alas, poor Warlock. So Lotus, why don't you go ahead and take us through a match that was not yours?
Yeah. So in terms of Tap's Last versus Due Process, Tap Last is also going really strong, and Due Process was a really well poised team. A lot of people thought they were the fourth best team, or even one of the top three in pro, and they ended up losing to Tap Last. Twos beat Goose 3-1. C-Mac beat Dr. BOMD 3-0. Last Champ lost 0-3 to Boolean. Lawful Dog beat JR 3-1, and Typhoon beat Mike V 3-2. I think good results all around. Tap Last is a really strong team, and I think Due Process relies a lot in their top three players. They were doing amazing the whole season, and I think they'll continue to do well. But it is important to try to get as much points as you need, even from the top teams, because pro is super competitive right now.
I mean, absolutely. Mako, what are your thoughts here on this match from last week?
I see nothing else on my screen but this blue box with an S in the middle of it on the last Champs lineup.
I see that too. There are actually two
That's
blue
the
boxes.
only thing I can see.
There are two blue boxes in this lineup, but one is one that other people actually bring.
No, this other one is like a new class or something. I also see he got swept, and I don't know if that blue S has anything to do with it, but
may have never been played for all we know.
True.
It was Quest.
It was Quest Shaman. All right. That's interesting.
Splitting Axe Shaman Quest combo. Okay.
Ooh.
Those are 5 words that you can put together.
I'm messaging the lineup.
Yeah, I want to see this Shaman. Outside of that, I think Tap Last. We're what, a little over halfway through the season by now. I think Tap Last is going to end up in
a little
playoffs.
under halfway. This is essentially the halfway mark.
Well, I'm gonna make a bold, like, soon prediction. I think Tap Last is gonna end up in playoffs as long as they don't bring Shaman anymore. I know this team, like, we predicted this team to make it from the beginning, and I think they're still holding out that strength, and I can definitely see them making it all the way to top 4. Finals, I don't know about that, but
You
Yeah,
may have
those
just
Shaman
baited
Demons are
them all
definitely
into
one to
bringing
look
Shaman
at.
this week to prove a point.
I hope they all bring Shaman, please. I mean, I'm not gonna eat a shoe or some shit, but like, please, everybody on Tap Last bring Shaman.
Well,
If Twos doesn't bring Splitting Axe Shaman Quest combo poggers, then I'm gonna be very disappointed.
He has submitted his decks already, so I don't think he's going to go the Shaman
that's less
route.
fun. Well, we'll
Well,
talk
we
about
don't know
that a
that.
little bit later when we get to their match for the upcoming week. But yeah, this was another strong performance from Tap Last. It's not surprising. In this match and the match before, we talked about last week and said, for Stay the Blaze and Due Process, this was kind of their tester matches. They've been doing really well, and they're playing two very, very good teams. And they had to really kind of set that, like it was like a heat check for them to say, can you guys handle what is clearly going to be two of the top teams at the end of the season, two most likely playoff teams. And unfortunately, both of them did come up short. Due Process fared a little bit better than Say the Blazes did, but we'll have to see if they can bounce back this week upcoming. But we had a very, very close match, which was our fourth game of the week here. And Lotus, I'll let you go ahead and take that one.
Sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, this one's me. I apologize. I'm doing this wrong. This is. Look at me. Everybody's all
Come
messed
on,
up.
Look at you.
No, I'm sorry. This is Mako. The order's all messed up.
It's Mako.
We are just a mess. I'm so sorry. I jumped in and I ruined
Low
everything.
order.
Content Hall of Famer, by the way. So
Come on, man.
No, Mako, go ahead.
Yeah. So every day we trifling, taking the one 14-13. The both of these teams are really interesting to me. And I mean, just looking at the records, and I know there's a lot of symmetry going on the left side. Outside of like the 9 Eyebrows 0-5 record right now, like both of these teams are pretty consistent with being average. And that's it sounds like a knock, and it's really not. I think that's why the score ended up being so even. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. Who's the normal 4 seed, by the way, for the boys? Or previous, I should say,
Triss.
not normal.
Triss was the...
Triss.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's not a whole lot to say for this matchup. Yeah.
I mean, we could bring up that Mata beat Little Hearthy in a sweep. Like, that's impressive by any objective standard.
Also, I just want to know that Baze has been on a tear over all non-legacy series.
I believe that is reflected in the crossover stats that are now available on the website. Smooth
yes.
plug.
I mean, if she could go on a tear in the legacy one too, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't be that sad, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine. It is what it is.
But yeah, this was definitely an exciting match here. Like it's you guys, you mentioned it before. Very evenly matched teams, even though the points are a little bit of a spread there between Everyday We Triflin is up in 4th now. With this win, they jumped 2 spots to get into what would be the playoffs if the season had ended today. And For the Boys is down in 8th, but that doesn't mean that there's that as big of a gap between these teams as the standings would imply. And For the Boys does have, if you look at the AOS there on the right side, they have had the hardest schedule, tied with Serenity so far. And they've only managed to win 1 game, but they have managed to pick up some points, and they're still kicking around, I think, in the playoff discussion. But definitely need to pick up some wins to go along with it here.
Yeah.
So the cutoff for playoffs, Mike Lowe, is 4 teams.
4 top 4.
So, speaking of playoffs, a team that is trying to prove that they weren't a fluke last season, Aeon, played Serenity. because, Aeon started the season very, very low, and they have been steadily climbing. Jumped 2 spots this week. Still just 6th place, but only 7 points out of the playoffs at the moment. So this week also started off somewhat disastrous, with both Markshire and Fuel losing, and then I'm sorry, both Markshire and Coles losing. Fuel didn't lose. Markshire and Coles losing, and then it had to be 3 straight wins to get the win, including myself over Dork Vader and our hat in a sweep over Dexter, pretty much back to back on the final day of the week. So it was very, very close. Even much closer than 15-10 would indicate, and it was a very nerve-wracking weekend, especially for those of us who had to play after the O2 start, where GCT Turth and Mycroft got wins for Serenity. So happy that we pulled this one out. Definitely wouldn't sleep on Serenity. If anybody has yet to play them, you'll notice they too have that really hard schedule so far, and I think better things are ahead for them. Lotus, I think you predicted Aeon to win, but did you expect it to be this close?
No, I think at this point, and I feel bad saying this about a team, but I'll say it anyways. I think at this point, Serenity needs to be the team where you crush every week because they have not been climbing. Pro is super competitive. You cannot afford to lose, quote unquote, free points anymore. And I expected Aeon to punch even harder. That being said, they won. You can't complain about that. You get the +3. And even their losses, other than Coles, who lost 1-3, they didn't actually lose that much. Markshire lost 2-3. So I think Aeon is still in the game, and they are coming back. But this is a week. Facing Serenity, facing the lower teams, you need a lot of points, or it's going to spell out trouble for you.
Yeah, you gotta take control of the matches where you can, and if it's a winnable match, you definitely want to pick up as many points as humanly possible. And it kind of, I guess it worries me. It's weird to say, like, if we got 15 points plus the 3 bonus, and but I feel like we could have got and probably should have got a little bit more there, and that might, if we miss the playoffs by like 3 or 4 points, then we could point to this week and say, hey, guess we should have got more. But we have one more match this week, and that was F2L versus the Unknown. So Lotus, feel free to take that one away.
Sure. F2L versus the Unknown. This is a match that in most seasons, this would be considered, like last season, this would actually be considered a really good level match. Possibly a match that matches should be on stream, etc., etc. And this season, it's kind of like, that's happening. No one really cares. It's a cool match, but that's about it. Ron Mexico beat Liquidox 3-0. DeSharmo beat Rebobson 3-1. Catman beat Berserk 3-1. Snake got the comeback and beat Swelly 3-0. And Itachi lost 0-3 against Solo Jazz. So the Unknown is still a strong team, even if they haven't been super hot in the beginning. I know DeSharmo had a lot going on, and that might have made it harder for him to play. So I still expect this team to be good. I can't think that this isn't a top-tier team. And beating F2L is important. It's kind of crazy to me that F2L is at this point after such dominant performance for 2 seasons in a row. But I guess we are where we are.
Yeah, I think the fall of both of these teams has been really interesting. I mean, for the Unknown, it's not really that far of a fall, but for F2L, like the drop from last season to this season has just been so staggering. I honestly don't think they're making playoffs this season. I don't know if it's like
they need to rush.
Competitive nature, or not competitive nature, the competitive field this season is just tougher, or if they're just not playing as well, or if this just like isn't their meta or what it is, but like it's kind of impressive like how much of a drop between the 2 seasons it's been.
I mean, honestly, if I had to guess, I would imagine that it's a team now that has won 2 straight championships. Every team sees them on the schedule and knows they have to give A+ effort and prep hard, really, really focus on your match and your deck selection, etc. And if you don't do that, they have a great chance of beating you. So I think a lot of teams are just not taking them. Not that they ever took them lightly, but I think every team is taking this match as serious as possible. Even if you're a team that might not make the playoffs, this might be your championship to try and beat the defending champ. So why would you not want to give your all, prepping and make sure that you're bringing your A game? And like you said too, you've got a meta shift from this last season to this season, and it could very well be that some of these players just aren't really feeling it. I mean, but if you look at it, like Liquidox is 3-2, Rabobs is 3-2, Berserk is 3-2, they've obviously got some success going on this team. It's just that they're not. It's there's like a puzzle piece or here two missing to complete the puzzle, and they just need to kind of put it all together. Whether or not that happens quickly enough for them to make a playoff run, who knows? I mean, there was the season where they just barely made it to the playoffs, and they ended up winning it anyway. So that's all you got to do is just make it to the playoffs. So, all right. Anything else on last week before we move on to the Legacy player power rankings?
I just want to know one thing is, like, there's a big difference in number of points right now from the top 3 teams to the rest.
Yes.
And you can see, like, from Tap Last 103 to Everyday with Trifling, there's a 10-point gap. Which is a lot for 3 teams to just get a split from the rest of the field. It's kind of crazy. I don't think we've seen it that much this early in a season for quite a while.
I mean, it just shows that those 3 teams, that when they're winning, they're winning big. They're not, taking 13 to 12 games. They're taking 18 points. They're taking, in Wash U's case, they're taking 20 points every week, it seems like. So, that being said, none of them have played each other yet, but they will.
Yeah. Yes.
Foreshadowing.
Oh, Tap Last has beat Washu.
Oh, did Tap Last play Washu? My bad.
Yeah.
Never mind. Well, that's less exciting then. But yeah, so I mean, I guess somebody had to beat Washu, and somebody will have to beat Tap Last. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe Tap Last doesn't lose the rest of the season and they win the championship. It's very possible. So why don't we talk about Legacy real quick? We do the power rankings every week, and if you check out, I believe it was in General and Chill earlier, we very much described in detail the formula that goes into this. So now you can completely reverse engineer everything if you really are so determined to find out what the power rankings are going to be every week. And that's no fun, right? You should just tune in to see the power rankings, which is what we're going to do. We're not going to go as super in-depth every week as we would because, sometimes stuff doesn't change massively, but we will at least reveal the players every week. So without further ado, to start the honorable mentions for Legacy, it's the 11 through 15 slots. So Heat Shock just hangs on after dropping 12 spots with a sweep loss. Dibs, Chewbacca, Mojo Powell, and It's Me Mike V, all 4 of them were not in the top 15 last week and are here this week. So congratulations to the 5 of you for making it into the top 15. Any thoughts here, Lotus or Mako, about the 5 that are just outside the top 10?
Yeah, Heat Shock, I don't remember who said it earlier. I think it might have been Base that said it earlier, but Heat Shock's definitely in the running right now for best player in THL at the moment.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, that minus 12 drop, it's kind of funny, to see that someone dropped 12 spots on a power rankings chart, but still, like, Heat Shock's been tearing it up. Same with any of these players. Like, 4-1 is very impressive. I mean, it's no Boozosaurus 5-0, but like, yeah, it's a great start.
Well, let's not talk about Booze. 5-0, just because you're 5-0 doesn't mean you make the power rankings.
Okay.
I think something to add as well is just, I want to say that Mike V deserves to be higher. I mean, he's in my team, yes, I'm biased, but I'm going to accuse the algorithm of attacking Mike V. Because A, he's awesome.
Okay.
B, he's been playing so well.
If you want to fight a computer, that's fine, but don't expect me to step in when the singularity hits you.
Fair.
But we do have the top 10 to reveal, so let's go ahead and move on to that as well. Only one player in the top 10 that was not at all in the top 15 last week. That's Neji Boston at 9. Adamos moved up into the top 10, still undefeated, and also now a not honorable mention, just a regular mention. Mike Lowe hops up 7 spots. G-Kick falls from 1st down to 7. And then Tony Montana actually slides back a spot despite being undefeated still. Inzi leapfrogs Tony into 5th and Fall in 4th. And then Ridiculous Hat, who is, he must be doing something behind the scenes to make himself get pumped up 4 spots to number 3. But Agent PW and Booze are definitely the top 2 players right now at 5-0 each. Agent PW at 15-2 specifically is ridiculous. So, congratulations to our players who are still in the top 10 or who are now joining the top 10. But it looks like a lot of red domination here, as I think we noticed this last week too. It's 6 players out of the 10, which isn't too crazy, but all 3 of the top 3 and 5 of the top 6 are in the red conference. So I'll kick it over to you guys for any opinions on that before we talk about Hero.
Right.
Also, I've been saying. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'll say what I've been saying for every single power ranking now, that I'm always proud of my birds. Congrats, Inzi, and Mike V and Shu. But yeah, Red Conference, I think, just has a lot of power going on. A lot of players doing really well. Hat and Inzi. It's interesting to see.
All right, Mako, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Red Conference right now is just on a tear. It's pretty interesting, and looking at this top top 6, having top 6, 4 of these top 6 being 5-0 undefeated, and 5 of the top 6 being from the Red Conference is just insane. So I really think whoever ends up making it to the championship from the red side is really going to be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, it's going to be HSA, but still, watch out for Booze, right?
Yeah, I mean, Booze is having a great season. We know he's a strong player. It's been a little while since he's had a really, really knockout season. So it's nice to see him get back on the horse a little bit.
Lusasaurus no more.
Lusasaurus no more. All right, so let's go ahead and since we have now riled everybody up in chat, let's talk about Hero. Here's the honorable mentions for Hero. We've got Medusa's, The Chronic, Chubbs Peterson's Hand, Liquid Ox, no longer the Liquid Ox, by the way, and JR Juggerlaw, just outside the top 10. So Liquid Ox was not a member of the top 15 last week. Neither was Medusa's, but The Chronic stayed just kind of in this just outside the top 10 range, whereas Chubbs and JR both lost to fall out of the top 10. So, Mako, I'll start with you this time. Hear your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I mean, everyone in here seems pretty deserving. Yeah, I don't know what the top 10 looks like right now, so I don't really have a whole lot to say from it.
Did you not read the prep?
Man, I'm pretty sure I messaged you hey, what's the order we're going in here? And then you gave me the wrong answer, so I was kind of figuring that out first, but yeah. Okay,
so you can only do one thing at a time. I get it. All right, Lotus, what do you think about the honorable mentions here?
I hate him so much.
Great shows every week. I think, honestly, this looks like a really tight hero squad. As you can see, only one of the players has 2 losses, and JR is still doing super well. Chubbs Peterson's Hand is really good 5 seed. I think he's bouncing back really quick. So, and Liquid Ox is no surprise to be in this ranking. He deserved to be before.
I guess the bigger surprise is that he wasn't here before.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I want to see all these players in the top 15 the top 10 next week.
Well, that means that some of these players in the top 10 probably have to lose. I see one person in the top 10 who might.
Yes.
LotusKnight at number 6. But
I think so. I always bet against it.
Oh yeah, you might as well, because then either you're correct or you win. Either way, you're happy.
Yes.
But the top 3 didn't change. Shadow Ranger. Shadow Ranger apparently played when I copy pasted. He's not actually 5-1 yet. He was what?
Yeah.
What
Same
did
for
Sharon-
Pascal.
Yeah. Him and Pasca ruined this. It copied incorrectly because they'd already played when I copied it, apparently. Anyway, based Electabuzz, Pasca, the top 4, Last Champ, LotusKnight, Itachi did fall 3 spots. A2 fell 3 spots. Blue Spartan jumps into the top 10, and as does Isocles into the top 10. So I guess we will know that there will be a few things changing next week, as Shadow Ranger did lose, but he was number 1 going into this week, despite the loss in week 6. So Lotus, your thoughts?
Oh, again, quick shout out to the birds. Other than that, I think this is a really strong hero season. All of these players have been in THL for a while. They're all doing amazing. Yeah, I'm happy to see this happening. I think this is a really good season for Hero. The meta is also really good for Hero. So I'm very happy to see that things have been going well.
Yeah, the meta is definitely crazy for Hero. Like, I've had 2 weeks where I've been swept and 2 weeks where I've swept. So just very, very all over the place. Mako, what do you think about the top 10 here?
I mean, I wish base was 5-0 in Legacy, but we'll talk about that later. Yeah, the amount of undefeated players this season, I don't know if it's consistent with how it has been in previous seasons. I don't remember really off the top of my head, but like I feel like we have more undefeated players so far at this point in the season than we have in the past. Does that sound right, or am I just like overthinking this?
I mean, I would
'Cause,
absolutely.
I mean, we have
to go look
4
it up.
5-0s in here, and then we had what, like 6 5-0s over in Legacy right now.
5. I think it's 4 and 5. 4 here, 5 there. But it's really it's
Still, man, it's
interesting.
insane.
Hero is one of those series that we've talked about it multiple times, both here and on Saloon. Very dense series. All the players that play in it, have been playing a long time, so everyone's very familiar with how to concoct a hero lineup, a last year standing lineup, and not only that. A lot of these teams have been either playing together or, some of the players on the teams have been playing together for a long time. So the prep is just on point every week. It's very tough to win, and to be even 4-1 in Hero right now is crazy good. But yeah, the 5-0s, like I think usually at this point of the season you maybe see like 1, maybe 2. So yeah, we're definitely gonna see 1 fewer, but that's because Shadow Ranger and Pasca had to play each other this week. All right. Any last second thoughts here before we move on to our preview of Week 6?
So
I'll take that as a no.
He's just gonna gloss over it.
Who ate what?
Lotus himself.
Oh, I talked about him very first thing. I mentioned that I think he's going to lose this week.
Oh, I'm sorry, I drowned you out.
It's reasonable. I was hoping you guys would give me a little bit of time here while I set everything up for the first match here, but
so Lotus, how's the weather going over there where you live?
I mean, I'm in Brazil, so it's always good weather here. I don't even know what weather really means.
Thanks, guys.
How is it over there?
I mean, it was 88 today.
Jeez.
Oh, wow.
So, Midwest Indiana.
Yeah.
And Midwest, Indiana. Yeah, no, it's shit.
Say other than Indiana's, like, are there other Indianas that are not in the Midwest?
No. I mean, right now, after speaking to some, listening to other people that I know, I wish there wasn't an Indiana, period.
Oof.
But we out here. Anyways, let's talk about the absolute slaughter that's about to occur this week.
Oh boy.
Yeah, before that, just one thing. In speaking about weather, you know what's really hot? Subbing with Twitch Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, it's free. And not only that, if you do it during Hearthcenter, we will analyze your performance in Pro or another series. Just DM me if you want. It's Always fun. You get to sub, you get an emote. I don't even know what emote it is, but you get an emote.
It's really not important anymore.
And
No one
yeah.
cares anymore. I wish you would have done that like a weatherman.
I'm going to try it next time. Just give me a horse lead.
I mean,
I
that
wanna see if I can get
transition
the
would have been
horse lead.
perfect for like a weatherman, like, you know, it's getting hot over here at THL.
I thought for sure when you said weather that you were going to say it's important whether or not you subscribe to our channel, but you went in a completely different direction, which completely threw me. So I'm happy with how it ended up. It's just not exactly what I had expected to see or hear. But yeah, we got there. So thank you, Lotus, for your ad read, per se. And we actually got 2 subs out of it.
See? It works.
So now my question is, because we've never had this happen before, do we talk about Isocles or do we talk about Diamond? Because Isocles gifted the sub to Diamond. Or do they get like 30 seconds apiece?
I don't know if Diamond gets anything. I mean, what did he do for that?
So
I mean, he already has a whole rank named after him.
He existed, right? And then Isocles says talk about Diamond, so I think
it's his money, so I think that's only fair.
Yes, yeah, he makes the ultimate decision here.
All right, at the end of this segment, we will talk about Diamond, and we will talk about Inzi as well, who also subscribes. So thank you for that.
We will 100% talk about Diamond.
It has to be the end of the segment because we have to give our resident statistician, expert, analyzer, LotusKnight, to do some background digging on you.
And I'm assuming Inzi wants me to talk about Legacy from what he's asked. So
well,
that's going to be fun.
All right. So let's talk about match 1 this week. That's Wash U versus F2L. As Mako hinted at, it is not exactly a even affair on paper, point-wise. And the fact that the Mishas are 4-1 versus the F2L 1-3-1 record that you see. So what I find interesting here is that you've got the top 3 players on F2L have clearly been the strongest players thus far. And the top 3 players on Wash U Mishas are undefeated. So the problem for F2L has been that they have not been able to get all 3 of those players to win at the same time. And now that Snake has finally got on the board, if it's Itachi's turn to get on the board, maybe they can pull something off here. However, I know Rabobson is subbed out this week, so I don't know who his sub is, or I don't even know if that's actually come in yet, who his sub is going to be. So I'm not sure who Heatshock's playing.
It's Rescue Wabbit.
Rescue Wabbit. I do not know who that is. Tespa fatigue will hit Wash U hard. We'll see. I mean, have they been doing a lot of Tespa lately? Is that in season right now? Shows you how much I pay attention to Tespa. Started Monday. All right. So maybe we see they care more about THL. Thank you, Heatshock. That's exactly what I would hope to hear from the captain of the number 1 team in pro right now. But I think it's it's hard to bet against Wash U at this point. Even if one of those top 3 do happen to drop a match, drop a series here, I still think Wash U gets this win. Lotus, what do you think?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Mako. You were like raring to go, jumping in with an idea. I'll let you talk.
My bad. I was going to say before I was rudely interrupted. I think that this is going to be the make or break week for F2L. Because if they let Wash U walk all over them like it looks like they will do on paper, they might just set themselves out of the running. But if they can pull off an upset like this could potentially get them back into the playoff picture.
I definitely agree. Lotus, now you can go, now that Mako is done.
Sure. So I'm going to make my hot call of the week, or hot call of the season, because I haven't made any, and I'm going to be wrong. Totally fine about that. But I'm going to say that F2L is going to win this one.
Ooh. Are you pulling a Donde Colin Blazes right now? Are we going to have to clip this for
I
next
am
week?
pulling a... It's going to be a 5-0 for Misha's, but I'm still going to call that Liquidox, Berserk, and I think Hitachi is back, and they will lead F2L to actually win this week.
To actually win. F2L will actually win, according to Lotus.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll have to revisit that next week. I mean, the history says that they're a strong team. They should win eventually. I just don't know if they're strong enough to beat this team in particular.
Mm-hmm.
So our biggest match of the week, I think by any objective standard, is match number 2 here. It's Bad to the Bone versus Taplast Uno Cero Tres. I believe I said that correct. El Español teacher.
I mean, you said 103.
I did.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Not 103, but yeah.
I believe that's Cieni Trace.
Sure, bud.
Okay. Well,
Anyways,
yeah, I'm rusty.
go on.
Anyway, this was huge. Everyone in this match has at least a 500 record, or in everyone's case with the last champion winning record. So 4-1 versus 4-1, 92 to 88 points. This is as even on paper as it can possibly get. So close to call that I'm not going to call it right away. I want to surprise you with my pick. And Lotus, this time we will start with you, Lotus, rather than letting Mako take the floor.
So, first thing I want to talk about is Avi versus Twos. That match is just so insane.
And where will that match be played?
Well, that match will be played today, right after the show. We're having a special time for you to watch this match because Hearthcenter should have hero matches or pro matches associated with it.
This is true.
So we're going to see Avi versus Twos live right after this. 10-minute delay, yes.
Yes.
Or almost right after.
Kind of live.
Yeah. But I think this is going to be a really hot match. Bad to the Bone and Tap Last are both really strong teams. Avi versus Twos is crazy. Simac versus A2 is also crazy. I'm going to lose to Lawful Dog. Ego Waffle versus Typhoon is actually going to be on Schoolstone this weekend.
Ooh,
so
right.
Tune in for that. Sunday at 2 p.m. We're going to have Typhoon versus Ego Waffle. And you'll be able to watch the best comments with me, Baze, and JR. And Farron versus Last Champ. I think this is going to go 3-2 Bad to the Bone.
I think anybody who says that this match will be anything outside of a 3-point difference between the two teams is crazy. There's no way that this is going to be a big win for either team, and I think that this is very much a possible playoff matchup that we see down the road. I just running down so here's the thing. There's 2 rules in play right now with this first match, and one is never bet against Avi because he's just nasty, and number 2 is don't bet against Twos this season because he's been playing nasty. So it's like, what do you do to pick that match? I don't even know. I guess I'd go with Twos. I guess. But I mean, I have no confidence either way because both players are playing out of their mind right now. I picked against A2 last week. It's super what?
Oh, I just wanted to add that it's a super bittersweet match for me because I'm playing in 2 teams with Avi, and I always do it with Twos. So this is a fun one for me to cast.
Well, you just do what I do with Coles, and you actually secretly wish that they lose every time. It's easy.
That's true.
But I picked against A2 last week, and that worked out very poorly for me, so I've learned my lesson there. So I'm going to go with A2 this week. Lotus, I got you winning in the 3. And Ego versus Typhoon is nasty, too. I guess I will barely give it to Ego, which means that the last champ has to win the 5 to make my prediction of this being within 3 points correct. So I'm going to say that Tap Last gets 2s, and the last champ, and Bad to the Bone gets everything in between. So that's my pick for the week. Mako, how about you?
I tried to do the math in my head to make it a 4-point difference just to spite you,
Nice.
but I gave
Appreciate
up on it about halfway through.
Because you're a Spanish teacher, not a math teacher.
Yeah, sure, that was it. Yeah, no, I mean on paper it's hard to get this matchup to be any closer than it is. I think we're gonna see Avi take the win over Twos 3-2 after Hearthcenter. Man, I wish we could actually see Dex or something right now.
I mean, we can.
Or even classes. I mean, have they even
We
submitted
can.
classes?
I didn't.
They
They've
have.
submitted
They
everything, but
have.
I figured you guys were going to talk about that, in the lead up to the match.
It's fine, man.
Oh.
It's fine. It's fine. Decks and bands are up. Sure. Yeah, so I think we're gonna see Avi take the win over twos, but it's gonna be close. I don't think there's any way it's not close. As far as that 2C matchup, I think C-Mac can take this one out with Waffle Dog taking it in the 3, and then I would I would probably bet on Eggo Waffle taking that 4C matchup. And then I really don't know jack squat about Farron, so I can't really make a call down there. An honest to goodness call that's not just out of my ass, So I don't know. I think Bad to the Bone has a higher chance of taking this overall, just from prior knowledge of players. But it's really anyone's game. It's like this matchup's gonna come down to who prepped the hardest.
I would also like to point out that Avi was the only one of the two to ban Warrior, but he was also the only one of the two to bring Warrior. So
To bring what?
Warrior.
Choose was the only one who brought Warrior.
I'm sorry, Twos was the only one to bring Warrior, rather, and Avi was the only one to bring Demon Hunter. Twos then banned the Demon Hunter, so
You're
no
talking
Warrior.
about the two of them, right? Not the team.
The two of them, the two that we've seen so far.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if Bad to the Bone's got another strategy that includes no Warrior brings this week, but we'll have to see once they get revealed.
Wait, do we have a strategy?
I certainly didn't think you wanted to reveal it right now. If you did. Anyway, we've got 4 more matches to talk about, and you guys have a match to cast after this. So let's keep things moving with Everyday We Triflin versus Due Process. So this is a bounce back week, hopefully, for Due Process, as they drop to 5th, and Everyday We Triflin is in 4th place. So this is another very even matchup. 2 very, very strong teams. Due Process is itching to prove that last week was not their true colors. The question then becomes, is that true? Do we see a win here for Due Process? Mako, I'll start with you on this one.
Yeah, we have another really close matchup. This after this week, we're probably gonna see these leaderboards shake up quite a bit.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this when we were talking about last week's matchups, but this leaderboard's gonna shake really hard. I mean, besides Aeon jumping up into the top 4, it's gonna be interesting.
Ayo.
No, Aeon. But yeah, so I think just looking at this thing on paper, I mean, without knowing classes and all that jazz, this looks like a Due Process win to me. But again, it's kind of hard to judge these things without having any information about what they're actually bringing. I think Pro this season, especially considering the skill levels of all the players, I think it's basically just who's gonna prep the hardest for their matchups. Because I mean, we keep seeing these really strong players like Katachi, for example, going 0-5. I'm not saying he's not prepping hard. That's not why I'm giving that example. I'm just saying the amount of competition is just through the roof. So yeah, I mean, just straight up looking at it without any classes or anything in front of me, I would probably guess Due Process, but I think we just kind of need that information to make these informed judgments for Pro Series this season.
All right, Lotus, would you like to make an uninformed judgment on this match?
I mean, Everyday We Triflin is already 4-0. So I think they're going to have the advantage. And I have to say this, Due Process is a team that I did not think was going to be doing this well. So my gut feeling still tells me they're not as good as their record shows, even though I know that's not true. So I'm going to have to say that Everyday We Triflin keeps winning, and they are actually the 4th place team that should be there.
Yeah, I think to me, you mentioned we already saw Little Hearthy beat Goose this week 3-0. So Everyday We Triflin does have the lead right now. I kind of think that maybe this has the makings of like a 4-1 win in Everyday We Triflin's favor. Like maybe I would say either like Dr. Bo or JR, one of them will get the win, I think, this week. But I would think that overall, I would give it to Everyday We Triflin. Very strong team, and they deserve to be in the spot they're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of teams that deserve to be in the spot they're at right now, Stay the Blazes home, making me look bad last week.
The symmetry is insane. If Tweeg didn't get subbed out one week, and that was 2-3 across the board.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, he's getting subbed again this week, so he's...
Damn it. All right.
Yeah. So Raren is actually the player who will be playing. He subbed in for Tweeg last time, so he'll be playing Fuel. I will be playing Wengor, Markshire against Corden, Coles against Yoxter, and Ridiculous Hat against Phoenix. Will Tweeg Zoo be banned, C-Mac? Absolutely, because Tweeg has banned himself from playing this week. So, Mako, it's our team.
Yeah.
Are we winning?
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna ask me to make an unbiased prediction in this,
not at all.
Not gonna happen. So yeah, and also like looking on the side of Saku's team, I don't know who any of these people are, so I'm gonna excuse myself out of this discussion. You just said Tweeg is subbing out this.
Yeah, but you don't know who he is.
I know who Tweeg is. He's the guy who ignored my DM when I asked him a zoo question before my match.
Wow.
But the other ones, no, I don't know who any of them are, so I can't really make an informed prediction here. I mean, I can. The only like informed prediction I can make is that you're gonna lose because you're garbage. But besides that, I think we'll take it 4-1. Sure.
All right.
It's best you're getting right now.
So Lotus, we've both aired grievances against Stay the Blazes home now. Would you like to, I don't know, say anything informative with actual substance?
So I'm going to say this. Stay the Blazes home has, in every one of their weeks, they either lost when the other team scored 20 points or they won the week. Because of that, I'm going to say if they win a week, they win the series. Or if they win a single game. If they don't win a single game, they don't win the series.
Well, that second part is objectively correct.
Now I want to know who plays first on their team now, because I want to know who has the most pressure under their belt.
So I know that I'm playing Friday, I believe.
Oh yeah, we played them. I'm so dumb.
Yeah. Go look at the Discord.
I'm looking at. I was like,
we have a scheduling channel.
There. I know. I didn't think like I could look on the other side. You know.
Maybe I'm playing Thursday. One of the two. Thursday.
You should probably know this, man.
It might be me playing first, to be honest.
Coles plays first. He plays a half hour before you. And R had just now typed like 3 seconds ago his time.
It's alright. Last week,
channel.
Yeah, last week he didn't post the schedule, and then I was just like, "Dude, you're the one who hasn't played. What are you playing?" He's like, "In 30 minutes, it was Sunday."
Don't put me on blast. I watch this shit pop up while I'm looking at it. No, Coles. Yeah. So Yoxter, if that's how you pronounce it, that's there's the pressure, buddy. According to Lotus, if you lose, then your whole team's losing.
That is a lot of
other
pressure.
way around.
Wait, no, yes, you're right.
No, yeah. If one of them loses, that means the team is losing the week. Not all of them are losing. Oh no, wait, no, all of them are losing.
Oh my goodness, guys. Okay, so here's the thing. There's effectively two outcomes. There's win and lose. I'm just saying we've seen ties. It is rare and requires a lot of really specific things to happen. So we talked about if you went to the Discord earlier today, we talked about like advanced stats in baseball. There's a thing that talks about the 3 true outcomes in baseball, which is either a home run, a strikeout, or I believe a walk is the other true outcome. So in this, there's 2 true outcomes: you win or you lose. So you can't really have anything in between. So it's either going to be a win or a loss. It's 50-50, like C-Mac said. That's it. So it's going to be a win for Aeon this week. I believe in us continuing our hot streak and Stay the Blazes home. I'm going to be playing mad this week. I'm going to be throwing my cards on the table. hard as I can because you made me look silly last week. So I'm coming after you guys, specifically Wengor, because I can't play any of the other people on the team. It's just not allowed.
Don't be scared. It's just Donde.
You should be scared. You won't see it coming.
You're fine.
I will cut you. Mako, not the other team.
Yeah, sure. Whatever, bud.
If I ever have in Indiana, I'm looking for you.
Bro, I'll just go run into a cornfield. You won't find me.
Seems like it's actually a solid strategy, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, moving on to match number 5, the Unknown versus Serenity. This is, it's an interesting match because this is a team in the Unknown that has not gotten off to the hottest of starts, and Serenity has struggled mightily, including Dork Vader and Dexter are still winless, unfortunately. Isocles also winless for the Unknown, by the way, at a strong 0-1, so nice try, buddy. Let's get some W's over there. But Ron Mexico versus GCT Turf should be a fantastic match. Catman versus SCDHRUV. I still have no idea if it's Skudrov is my guesstimation on it. Solo Jazz versus Dork Vader, Brush Tuna versus Dexter. This definitely has the makings of a winnable week for Serenity. Lotus, would you agree with that? A strong 0-1. I knew he was in chat, so I knew if I ribbed him, he would pop up.
I think Serenity is an interesting team, but I don't think they can beat the Unknown. Overall, it's just such a strong team.
Yes. Right. I think that if Serenity is gonna start turning it around, this is the week to do so. I think they're in the same situation as F2L. I mean, they're against a much easier at the moment opponent than F2L is, but there's only an 8 points difference between the two. And I think this is going to be the make or break point for both of those. You got me good.
There's more than an 8 point difference. There's 16 points.
No. I'm talking about Serenity and F2L. I was comparing their situations.
I apologize.
Yes, comparing their situations. If you'd listen to me, that'd be fine.
Sorry. I was too busy. I was too busy looking at what Hat said.
Yeah. No, I know. I keep getting distracted because he keeps making me laugh in the chat. This is going to be make or break week for them, and I think that this is definitely when you're looking at like teams that they can start to turn it around on. I think the Unknown is one that they can do that with. And I mean, Dexter and Darth Vader, it's about time, they get a win on their belts, and I think they can pull this off. I have faith. Not 5-0 or 4-1 faith, but I have faith.
Yeah, I think that to me is a very realistic assessment of the match, and like we were saying earlier, I don't think there's any team that is necessarily eliminated yet. Serenity is certainly, by the math, the closest to being eliminated, but I would say if they do not win this week, I would safely say at that point that they are playing spoilers the rest of the season, and they will not be a playoff team. So I think the comeback has to start this week. There's 6 weeks left. They have to pretty much all be wins for Serenity, and if they don't get the win here, I think it's just going to be too little, too late. Even if they do play well the remainder of the season, so I would agree with that completely.
Yeah, this will definitely be one to watch.
All right, for different reasons than some of the other matches, of course. But we have one more match to talk about. That's for the boys versus the Beer Boys. It's the boys matchup, boys and boys. And this is another. We mentioned some nice synergy on the left side of the screen there. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the win column for the boys versus the Beard Boys' much more consolidated win strategy of 1s and 2s. But this is interesting. Yeah, Hat points out Smork versus Honest Abe, both with 1 win. Smork has only played 3 matches so far, but they're both great players. That's a crazy 4-seed matchup. Booze, who is undefeated in Legacy, playing 9 Eyebrows. Like there's a lot of power all over the place in this match, even though these two teams are struggling. Lotus, what do you think is going to happen here?
All of these matches would be considered insane in any other season, pretty much. And again, this is considered one of the worst matches of the week just because both of these teams are not high in the standings. That being said, I think this is actually a tighter match than it seems. Myanodon versus Basing looks amazing as a match. Hockey Boys versus Dabs is going to be a great match. Inzi versus Nada is going to be a great match. Zabe versus Mark is going to be a great match. And Booze versus Nine, I think, is actually a pretty good match. If both of them can put an effort into pro, I can see both teams winning. So my guess is this is going to be tight. Whoever comes out has actually a better chance than it seems to just stand as one of the strongest teams. And I hope it's for the boys because they beat us, and I'm going to hope that we didn't lose to a team that doesn't perform super well.
Reasonable. Mako, what do you think?
I really hope that this matchup this week doesn't cause some friction between these two HSA teammates. That's the only thing I'm looking at and care about right now. I think Nine Eyebrows is going to take the win over Booze because Booze is going to be so focused on his legacy matchup that he won't think about pro. I think, like R has said in the comments, it's kind of hard to bet against Base this season. She's been on a hero pro tear. And then Dab's taken a little bit of a downfall compared to last season, but still doing strong. And then that 4 seed matchup is insane. This is going to be close, but I think For the Boys is going to end up taking this one. I almost said at least 3-2. No shit. Probably 3-2, 4-1. I don't think it's going to be a 5-0 by any means, but I think they'll end up taking it by maybe like 4-5 points. It won't be a blowout.
So I definitely think that it will be not a blowout. I agree with that. As much as we're talking about how good Based is, I don't disagree. Based is a fantastic player who did happen to lose to me on ladder last night. Just happens to the best of us. Some of us are just that good. But Myanodon, he is a very good player who I feel like he's fallen into kind of some of the trap that a lot of the really, really good players have this season where this meta's tough. The decks are tough. You got to play a lot, and I just don't see him online that much playing. Maybe he's off focusing on the broadcasting career a little bit too much, and just not getting as much practice with the decks. So not only is Based a fantastic player, I think that just in general she's playing more than Myanodon right now and has more practice. And I would say that Based has the advantage there in the 1 seed. I would go with Inzi in the 2. The 3 and the 4 are both just toss-ups to me, which is just it's so hard to pick. I guess I'll say Dabs in the 3, Zabe in the 4 for that perfect Booze versus Nine Eyebrows match to decide it all. And it's so hard to pick someone who's 0-5 right now, unfortunately. So I gotta say Boozosaurus wins for the Beard Boys. So I'm gonna go with a 3-2 win for the Beard Boys.
You're picking. You're looking at an 0-5 versus a 1-4. Like, it's not that much of a difference right
He's
now.
5-0 at Legacy. I gotta give him points for that.
I know.
And Heshok is correct. Talking critically about Hearthstone can absolutely be as or more valuable than playing. It's very true because you see when people, they talk out their plays when they're either co-oping or streaming. It really puts you in a very different mindset when you're talking out your plays versus just kind of autopiloting it in your head. Like sometimes we all fall into that trap where we should be thinking deeper about a play or turns ahead, and then we just kind of autopilot a play. It happens to everybody, and it can happen in your THL matches. It can happen on ladder, but yes, if you're broadcasting, if you're casting at all, you obviously are talking, and you have to be very, very conscious of everything that's happening in a turn. So I think that's definitely a fair point. Not that Myanodon is not getting as much out of that as playing would be, but I don't know. It seems like you gotta click a few buttons every once in a while to have some sort of I think for me, like personally, like I love casting, so not even don't get me wrong on that, but I think like having my hand on the mouse and actually controlling the action kind of imprints things on me deck wise that's a little bit different than just watching or talking about it, and I think people just kind of learn differently.
I think something that we even talked about in School Sun is a lot about trying to find long-term things in your play. And that's something I've been trying to talk about more, especially when we're watching some of their players. If just instead of trying to think of individual mistakes they made their match, it's really interesting to try to think of trends and things they're undervaluing. Are they undervaluing draw? Are they valuing going face too much? It's a really interesting thing and really hard to do, in my opinion.
And Hat pointed out too, when you're casting, you see both hands, caster vision, as we say, and that can offer up advantages, obviously, because you see in real time the plays that you can or should be making to avoid the best plays for your opponent. And when you are not seeing that hand anymore, ideally you should still be able to kind of think in that same vein. So it is definitely different advantages, different disadvantages to playing versus casting or just watching a match on stream, which you should absolutely watch the match on stream that's coming up after this very shortly, Avi versus Choose, if you didn't know that is happening. But we have one last thing to do tonight, and that is because we had the 2 subs. So Lotus, you've been doing some research, my friend. Who are we talking about first?
So why don't we start talking about Inzi? I'm personally biased to talk about Inzi, but here goes. Inzi has been just an amazing addition to the Albatrosses. I mean, he's 5-0, and he's beating his 2-seed opponents with no trouble at all. It's kind of crazy. It's a matter of time until he's the best player in Legacy, in my opinion. And I think he's going to conquer THL. And again, this is not a biased captain speaking at all. No.
Not at all.
If you didn't watch his match against Isocles on stream, that was insane. Really good match. The Bomb Warrior versus Warlock match was one of the weirdest things ever. That being said, he hasn't been too amazing in pro with the Beard Boys, coming out as only a 2-3. But I would not sleep on this fierce player.
All right. And we had one other subscription, which was the Diamond gifted subscription. Thank you again, Isocles, for doing that.
Yeah, I think Mako has this one.
Yeah, they gave it to me. So they wanted me to talk about Diamond. So my favorite thing about Diamond is definitely how they were able to get the League of Evil and the like the Reno's crew, like all of their portraits, but for 10 through 1. Yeah, that's all I got to say about Diamond.
I'm a big fan of how easy it is to get to Diamond.
Yeah, I do. I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
It makes me feel better to say like I'm Diamond instead of like rank 5, and then I can just coast for a little bit till you get to Legend.
I think counterpoint, if you were Legend rank 5, you could just say I'm rank 5, and it would be very impressive.
Yeah, but come on.
I mean, we can't all be heat shocked, so.
Exactly. But it's too boring to do that. But yeah.
To add, though, Diamond, not to be confused with the rank, had a start this season. He went 0-3 in Hero so far, but that being said, his pro teams is, in my opinion, one of the highest potential teams. And I still think they have a huge chance of blowing up if they can get their stuff together this week. Diamond is also famous for captaining basically all THL players at some point. I'm sure all of us have been in a Diamond team, or a lot of people have. I've played for him, and I'm thankful for all the work he has put into captaining all of us and improving this community.
Yes, no doubt about it. Diamond does put in a lot of work with all of his teams. That includes Wild. Yes, he is the only 4-series captain. A crazy feat that I'm sure most people don't even want to attempt, nor should they probably attempt it. But he does manage to pull it off somehow. So, thank you again to our subscribers, and thanks for everybody for joining us tonight. And for anybody who wants to stick around and watch this awesome match, I'm going to be stepping away, but Lotus and Mako will be bringing it to you sort of live in 10 minutes. We're going to cut the stream, obviously put it on delay, so it'll be like a 10-minute delay before it gets started back up. That's how delays work, just in case you weren't sure. And then we're going to bring you this hot Pro Series action. So thanks for joining us tonight. And if you have not, please do consider subscribing in the future. Otherwise, just make sure you turn on notifications so you know when we do go live, or be in the Discord because it get pinged. Make sure you get that @live roll, and then you'll know when we're online. Thanks for coming out tonight. Best of luck in your matches this week, in every series, and we will see you next week on Wednesday night. Thursday night, tomorrow, that's Tavern Talk night, so please be sure to tune back in and join the crew as they talk about Legacy. And that's it. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you in 10 minutes.
See y'all.